Hello, good evening and welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios right here in downtown Colombo. And joining me this evening is Mr. Bandula Jayasekara, senior journalist and former diplomat. Good evening, Bandula.
Good evening, Faraz.
Nice to see you after a couple of days off.
Yeah, election break.
Of course. And we are fortunate also to have Mr. Faisal Mustafa, the legal advisor to His Excellency the President of Sri Lanka. Good evening and thank you for being on the show.
Good evening, Faraz.
It's nice to have you on our network as always. So, on a wonderful, wonderful day in which the results of one of the most peaceful elections this country has ever had are filtering in and it's nearly finalized. 196 MPs are elected from the electoral districts and another 29 MPs are appointed from the national list. All the results are not quite in, but most of it are. What do you think, Bandura? Peaceful, wonderful elections, no posters, hardly any?
Yeah, I think we should give the credit more than the politician to the Commission of Elections.
Indeed.
For having and he has a lot of control and also to the people.
Right.
Because people are more aware of it. I mean, they don't like these posters and creating disturbance. So our voters are much more educated for us now.
Indeed. Mr. Mustafa, apart from being one of the most peaceful elections, surely it must have been one of the cheapest elections to have for each candidate. No posters, no cutouts, or very, very few of them.
I don't think it was the cheapest election because the election commissioner was strict. There was a lot of media buying. So I don't think from a candidate's point of time, because normally he would have the option of having posters, banners and cutouts. And I don't think the media is cheap in getting your number across or your party across.
But nevertheless, they didn't have money they didn't need to spend it on posters because clearly there was a strict implementation of the laws.
But today you need to get your number across and it's a very costly process when you have to go to the media.
I see.
So I think the election law should be relaxed so that poorer candidate also can use banners and posters,
right,
and thereby facilitate the masses from being aware of their number and the party they contest from.
What I'd like to say is that, and I wonder if you agree with me or disagree, but the input of the President, President Sirisena, has been quite remarkable. He's not been in-your-face sort of president, but he has been almost in the background, but clearly he has guided everyone, and we've had this most remarkable election. I've been around and we've hardly, it didn't even appear to be an election going on.
Yeah, I think that's what we need for us, like in the West. I mean, you don't realize that there's an election. I think we need this new culture and we need this to continue. That will help the people, and people have to continue with elections will come and go, but people have their needs and they need to.
And the turnout, I think, was 61 before, and we've had 10% more this time. Again, seems to be an indication of people's confidence in being able to step out without fear, without intimidation.
Yeah, that's
to
true.
Cast their vote.
If there's no violence, if people can move out now. See, today I drove from Kandy. There was, just peaceful, in the past there were people worried about curfews and all that, so things are changing. This is good for Sri Lanka. And
finally, we seem to have Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe almost there for a full term. Fourth time round, lucky.
So let's wait. I mean, he has to take oaths, and I'm sure President Sirisena will decide, and then finally it depends on how the government would deliver.
So do you think he's on the cusp of greatness?
It's up to him. For us,
to make it great.
Make it great.
Let's ask Mr. Mustafa about this. What of national government? Do you think the President's vision for national government will come to pass?
I think the results would necessitate, there would be a necessary for a national government because no party has got absolute majority.
Right.
And for a functional government, you need a working majority in parliament. Also, President Maithripala Sirisena very clearly indicated that he wants to move away from confrontational politics and then have a national government. So I believe this is an opportunity for the United National Party and the UPFA to cohabit and work together.
But For us, I wouldn't agree, because I would say, because if you have a national government, see, we have to have an opposition, because then we have to look at the masses. They have a national government, they'll share whatever, so you have to have a strong opposition. See, in Sri Lanka, as I'm sure now, our people in the past, the opposition has opposed for the sake of opposing. But if we have a good opposition, which will, keep the government on check. Don't you agree?
But there are two ways of looking at it. I mean, you need a strong opposition. The JVP, having 3 or 4 members in parliament, has been a very vocal opposition. But if you have a strong government, you create national stability. And I believe that if you have a strong government, it will help investment confidence, and it will also strengthen our efforts with regard to development. But when you have the 2 major parties having a very confrontational approach to capture power, then it may cause a setback.
The last 9 years, there was no opposition.
Hardly opposition.
I mean, that is because President Mahinda Rajapaksa got a very high majority. During the first term, he had a very slim majority, but then he had a majority of 161, which was a 2/3 in the PR system, which was an impossible task. But it was soon after the war, and there was and the UPFA managed to command a 2/3 majority in parliament.
You mean to say, okay, you have a national government, and then who is going to speak behalf of the people? Like, see, okay, you start well, then after 1 year, everything sets in, and see, there has to be, somebody to speak for the people.
I think, Badula, you have to move away from confrontational politics. I know there are issues which you raise, but you have to give it a chance. The 100-day government was just a government, it was a temporary government. Here, it's going to last for 4.5 years. Let's see how we can move on. If there are problems and if it's not workable,
President Sirisena will not do a Chandrika Kumaratunga,
which
is when Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was in Washington, right?
Right.
But that's a different scenario where it was a UNP government. But here, President Maithripala Sirisena has worked with the United National Party for these 100 days or more, and he has proved that he's a true statesman.
But you couldn't work with them.
It's not that I couldn't work. I was appointed a state minister, and there was a cabinet minister appointed above me, and I thought I should facilitate the cabinet minister to function, and I thought it's best that I move on in life.
Beautifully put, Mr. Mustafa, if I may say so. The people appeared to have voted wisely. Do you agree, both of you?
I mean, always people of this country vote wisely, but the results indicate that we need a national government, and if we don't have a national government, there be a lack of confidence with regard to governance.
Well, the people appear to have done exactly this. They have voted extremely wisely, because they've not given any party a majority, which means one side, whoever forms the government, if it is Mr. Wickremesinghe, so be it. But we'll have Mr. Rajapaksa or his colleagues on the other side holding the other side accountable and keeping them on their feet.
For us, an absolute majority is not good for the country. And when you have a situation that no party has an absolute majority, you need to cohabit and coexist, and that will have a mixture of ideas, and also there will be check and balances within the government itself,
which is all going towards achieving this wonderful middle path.
Let's hope so.
But I don't think for us that people voted for a national government. Maybe they gave a new mandate to President Sirisena to do what he wants, to bring people together. Maybe that.
I mean, people in a parliamentary election vote for the district, vote for the development of the district, and they vote for particular candidates. But it is politicians who decide for ones who voted for them that they should work together for their betterment.
What do you think will happen to Mahinda Rajapaksa? He's received 423,529 votes this time. Do you think it's time? Do you think he's on his way into retirement?
I mean, I couldn't comment on his behalf.
No.
But he's won the war.
Yes.
But President Maithripala Sirisena defeated him, and this time he contested on a platform that he would get 113 above.
Right.
So I think he might decide to step down, or he might decide to strengthen the UPFA by supporting President Maithripala Sirisena in carrying out party activities.
Good. What would you, as a member of the party, what would you hope for?
I mean, I would like President Maithripala, President Sirisena, Madam Chandrika Bandaranaike, Kumaratungam to work together to strengthen the Sri Lankan Freedom Party.
Right. Banjula, what says you? What will the President do now? Will he arrange for Mr. Wickremesinghe to make up the numbers, to have a working majority? What do you think?
It's difficult to say. I'm sure there are a few more days. It's left to be seen. I read in some news that he was going to take oaths, but it's not happening. Today he was going to, but let's wait and see the next few days. And I'm sure Faisal knows this better than me.
So I think you can't take votes first. It has to be gazetted. And then His Excellency the President would decide that in his opinion who is the Member of Parliament who commands the majority.
Right.
And that decision he would take at the appropriate decision in due course.
Yeah, I was going by what this John Amartung has said, so based on what?
But I think you have to first gazette, and then we have to move forward from there onwards.
The performance of the JVP, there was a lot of expectation that they may actually score more than they have. I think they've got 4 seats. What do you think, Bandula? It's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, for us, I think a lot of people expected JVP to get at least 15-20 seats, but maybe what I feel is that maybe masses, the people wanted JVP to be very independent, but they saw it during the 100 days. They saw it, even though people like Andokumar Dissanayake denied, they saw it, they more aligned with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Maybe that the JVPs didn't want, or people didn't want them elected. Maybe that.
Paras, I may be permitted to add some. JVP missed winning certain districts by a very slim margin. And also, I mean, Andokumar Dissanayake has been very vocal and he's brought in a lot of corruption and other matters out.
Yeah.
So I think JVP to become the third force in the country is not an easy task.
No.
But if you look at the results in totality, the JVP has gained ground, but they have missed getting a seat by a very slim margin in certain electoral districts.
And what of in this national government that may come about, what contribution do you think the President will invite the TNA to play a proactive role? Will they be part of this national government?
I don't know why you are giving so much of emphasis to one particular party, Faraz, because all these parties... No, I mean, at the appropriate stage, I'm sure in the interest of the country, President Sirisena will invite all parties.
But a national government
Yes, a national government would be an open invitation to all political parties. Yeah. But the JVP has very clearly stated that they would not join a national government. It's up to the TNA to decide whether they want to be part of a national government. I mean, President Sirisena will not block any party with his invitation in forming a national government.
And the United National Party have got, I think, 11 seats in Colombo. Does that mean the UPFA are a bit underrepresented in Colombo?
I mean, there are certain districts, like the Kurunegala districts, where a particular party is strong. There are certain districts where are weak. So Colombo has always been a weak constituency of the UPFA.
Well, all sounds very wonderful. But, Bandula, let's go back to this national government question. Is that the only way, do you think, that Mr. Wickremesinghe can form a working government? Or do you think he'll go shopping? I mean crossovers.
I mean, he has the freedom, but I hope people wouldn't cross over. I don't think people voted for anybody to cross over. I mean, they want they're pushing for clean candidates. I hope they wouldn't let down the people and let finally President Maithripala Sirisena make the decision.
Mr. Mustafa, can I ask you this? What is your stance politically?
I'm with His Excellency the President. I'm a member of the Sri Lankan Freedom Party, and that's my stance.
Do you envisage any role for you in government?
I mean, if I get an opportunity, depending on the circumstances, depending on what I'm offered, I would opt to it.
And do you firmly believe that President Sirisena is achieving this unity government?
I believed in President Sirisena on the 8th of January, and I continue to believe that is the best for this country, and we all should strengthen him to move forward.
There's no chance of you abandoning him?
No.
There's no reason why, is there?
I mean, my politics is principle politics. At this point of time, I don't see any conflict with my principles and the principles of the UPFA or in the manner which President Sirisena is conducting governance. But if there is a conflict, at that time I would have to take an appropriate decision.
Is there a conflict of interest in the President working with the United National Party?
There is no conflict of interest. We need to cohabit and coexist.
Can the President Rajapaksa, the former president, has acknowledged defeat to AFP. There's an AFP report saying that.
So I read so in the media.
Yes. Does this? Do you think, just thinking without any political caps on, do you think this is the end of the road for him?
No, I think he's an elder statesman. He's 70 years of age. He would have thought it's time to throw in the towel.
What do you think What do you think President Rajapaksa will be remembered for?
For winning the war. I mean, today we are living in peace because he defeated the LTTE. And nobody can take that victory away from him.
Indeed, indeed.
And also, he started mammoth development in his country.
Where is the end for Mahinda Rajapaksa?
I mean, why do you have to look at an end for Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa? Because he also can contribute to the country as an elder statesman. And I'm sure we could get his opinion and his viewpoints, and he could contribute in regard to governance in certain areas.
I've just remembered something. In the letter, he refers to a constitutional position that he'd considered. As his legal advisor, would you have some knowledge of what this constitutional position would be?
I think he was offered the position like Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew as elder statesman. I think President Maithripala Sirisena informed President Mahinda Rajapaksa to allow him to continue with the party without any interference and support him without contesting him, and that he would offer this position to him. But he opted to contest.
But
sorry, go ahead.
I must add something, because I think when President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the time offered the same thing to President Kumaratunga, and she didn't take it, and I think the message was conveyed through the former Foreign Secretary Mr. Palihakar. So, but I am of the view that they are both staunch SLFPs, and they should remain as patrons of the party and let President Sirisena run this country.
I think sometimes you don't want to be remembered as elder statesman because you think you have enough energy to continue.
I'm sure they both have. Mrs. Kumaratunga is a grandmother and she's still going strong, and there doesn't seem to be any let up in her. And I'm told that Mr. Rajapaksa spends a lot of time on his in the gym every morning.
I think age is a state of mind.
It does appear that way.
It appears that way.
Do you think that there will be some, in victory there will be some humility, and that Mr. Rajapaksa, the former president, will be treated as some sort of national treasure and given his constitutional position?
I don't think anybody in this country needs to be treated as a national treasure, but I believe that President Maithripala Sirisena will facilitate that President Mahinda Rajapaksa has a peaceful environment to continue.
And to live with some sort of acceptance.
I mean, if you look at the rule of President Maithripala Sirisena, even this election, when Bandula was discussing about it, I mean, there is no abuse of state machinery, and a free and fair election is all due to the manner in which President Maithripala Sirisena is running his government. Even his own speech addressed to the nation, the election commissioner banned it, and he accepted it. He accepted it.
Yes, I think we're in agreement that President Sirisena has played an absolutely dynamic role, even though he's been in the sort of background. But now that he has the remote control in his hand, perhaps we will see a firm attitude towards achieving.
Anyway, I mean, as far as when you say it's a background, you don't need to show your face every time you do something.
True.
I mean, that's what was lacking with regard to our leaders. You put on the television, you see our leaders from morning to night, that's all you see. But I think President Maithripala has created a major change.
Excellent.
And he gives everybody an opportunity.
Thank you very much. A very quick question, yes or no? Will we see you in Parliament and the National List?
I hope so.
Excellent. On that note, and in this ambience of elections and so on, let me just remind you, no man is above the law, and no man is below it, nor do we ask any man's permission when we require him to obey it. Obedience of the law is demanded, not asked as a favor. With thanks to Mr. Roosevelt, I'll bid you a very good night and God bless you.